speech is titled, How to Thank a Veteran. His speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. Please welcome Rob.
Well, happy Veterans Day. Yeah. Belated one day, November 11th, 2019. You know, Veterans Day was actually Armistice Day on the 11th of November in 1919, and it marked the end of World War I. Later became Veterans Day in the late 50s at the behest of some World War II veterans that wanted a grander and wider recognition of veterans for their service to their nation. I was fortunate to be at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington yesterday to give a speech and thank the veterans for their service and be amongst what I call my brothers and sisters, those that have served in uniform. I had a chance to thank them, and we paused in recognition and remembrance of veterans at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of the year as the clock tower struck its bells. Pretty neat. I got thanked for my service, my 27 years. Thank you for your service. This is a phrase that I have heard often in my time in 27 years and 3 combat tours. And to me, it represents so much. It's not just a group of words. It represents the love and support of a nation behind its warriors, those that go off and fight. It's almost brought me to tears in airports where I've been in uniform and people have bought me lunch or thanked me, patted me on the back, and it's really energized me to go forward and do what I do even better. It means a ton. Frankly, I believe that thank you for your service, the love and support of the nation's citizens is an absolute requirement for warriors, for service members as they go forward. That's why I have such a great level of respect for Vietnam veterans, because they didn't have that when they fought in Vietnam. I don't know how they did what they did, because I know it fueled me as a warrior in my time in service. But I'm glad to say that we've overcome that national shame, is what I call that. You don't have to believe in the war. Certainly we've got a lot to be critical of with Vietnam, even Iraq and Afghanistan. But if you can support those that decide to put on the uniform and go forward, it means an awful lot. Thank you for your service. But these words are kind of hollow in a way. When I hear citizens that have not served say these things, I can feel that they just want something more. They may walk up and say, Rob, thank you for your service. And then there's this odd pause afterwards, as if they're trying to reach for something, like a verb, an action they can put behind those words. Thank you for your service. It's strange, and it's not their fault. It's just because of the chasm we have between society and the military, and how far apart we have drifted after 9/11. 2 different, very different societies, but all, at the end of the day, Americans. Thank you for your service. How do you put the verb into that phrase? Well, you're lucky. I brought the answer today. And it's 4 words, 4 very simple words. Be their new sergeant. Be their new sergeant. You know, in the Army, you had this great saying, everybody has a sergeant. And we said that out of enormous respect for the world-class non-commissioned officers, the sergeants that were in our ranks, that kept us true to our code and our values, disciplined, marching straight. They were like that constant conscience you had. You know, when you got a little lazy and might have slipped away and done something not quite in line with the service values and culture, there would be a sergeant right there to correct you. I had a sergeant every day of my 27 years, 5 months and 7 days. From the day I raised my hand to the moment I stepped off the iron gates, I had a sergeant. They cared for me, they trained me, and they made me the leader that I was. You can be that sergeant for a veteran transitioning. Be their sergeant. Now please don't rush out of here today, find a veteran and say, hello, I'm your new sergeant. They'll probably run from you and think you're weird. But we need that. And I didn't realize that until I was deep into my own transition, that I missed that sergeant the day I left. I needed that person. But the Army didn't give me a sergeant when I transitioned. They kept them all. But that can be you. You see, in this new life, I don't need a sergeant to help me lead better. Maybe I'm a veteran that wants to get into interior design. There's my new sergeant. Maybe I want to be a financial advisor. There's my new sergeant right there. She can help me. She can help me get to that place that I want to be because she is in a place that I have not been. My new sergeants today have little in common with me. Many of them haven't been married, don't have kids, and not as old as I am, but they're in entrepreneurship and they're in private businesses in places that I am now, places that I have not been. And I lean on them. Be their sergeant. And I'm not talking about here's my card, my phone number, and email, holler if you need me. Be their sergeant, connect with them every week. Okay, Rob, where you at? I'm going to talk to you next Thursday. We're going to keep you online with your goals. Be their sergeant. Be there for them. Be the mentor for them. Help them achieve fulfillment in this transition because it's a very, very difficult transition. We live in a very rigid, predictable environment in military, a culture, and we're stripped of that overnight as we transition out. We need new sergeants, and that can be you. It can be one of the most profound and fulfilling things you'll ever do. Stay at it. Be brave, just like they were. Be their new sergeant. You'll eventually get there. You know, when you peel back some of the layers of us veterans, we're actually pretty cuddly. It's going to take you a little bit of time. Be their sergeant. Thank you for your service. Put that into a verb. Thank you very much.